All our games, so if you saw us before and we forgot that there was a game, but now there's no more games, so let's go over the week 4 review. Some teams have played 5 games. Remember, there is a 0 week in this, so let's take a look right now at all the games. Charlotte beat Rice by 3. They're both 2 and 3. North Carolina 27-26 over James Madison. They're 3-1, but didn't really play anybody. UCLA over Washington State. UCLA 1-0 in the conference, 49-30. Oregon by 3 over Minnesota. They're 5-0, but barely there. Maybe they drop. Texas A&M is 4-0. SMU is good. They just had a tough schedule and lost every close game. Indiana is 4-0, big win over Wisconsin. They're going to move up. Texas 28-17 over Arkansas, not too impressive. West Virginia 24-17. Remember, Arkansas lost to Arkansas State. West Virginia beat Texas Tech. Virginia Tech beat Old Dominion. Jackson State finally gets a win over Double A. Central Michigan gets a win over Double A. So Stanford beat Virginia. That's a big 1-0 for that's a big win for Stanford. They're 2-2. Virginia loses their first. That's hard. Vanderbilt beat Georgia State. UTSA beat Colorado State. Kennesaw State. Last year they played in the Toilet Bowl, and they're now 3-2. They beat Arkansas State. Georgia Southern over Double A. They're 3-1. Houston over New Mexico, maybe a Toilet Bowl team. Ball State over Double A. South Alabama loses to Toledo. Toledo's 2-1. Last year they almost beat Michigan, who won the national title. Boise State is 3-0, 19-17. Akron beat Double A. Delaware is 2-1. They beat FIU. Florida State beat Kent in a very weird game. It was 20-14. They win. Ohio beat Double A. Miami beat UNLV. They both only have one win. UTEP is 3-1. They beat Monroe. Utah State gets their first win over Double A. Duke beat NC State. Ohio State beat Pitt in a really thrilling game. Unfortunately, Pitt probably won't be ranked. TCU over Iowa State. They're still undefeated. New Mexico State 2-1 over Middle Tennessee. USF over Double A. Tennessee 47-39 over UF. Missouri State over Double A. Clemson beat Syracuse. Always a scrappy Syracuse team, but Clemson barely won. Texas State gets a win, a huge win over Double A. Northern Illinois beat Nevada. Washington goes to 4-0, a big win over Purdue, 36-31. Baylor beat Double A. Troy gets their first win of the year over Buffalo. San Jose State over Double A, 3-1, but you never know. Not over great teams. I think they took UCLA to the brink. I got to check that. Ole Miss 34-31 and an upset win at Georgia. We just saw that game. Wake Forest undefeated, but they beat Navy. Michigan State is 3-1. They beat Maryland. Georgia Tech over Temple. Louisiana Tech blows away Southern Miss. Eastern Michigan undefeated. Undefeated, they're 5-0. Miami beat Florida in a late second weird bounce. We broadcast that game. You can watch. Arizona beat Oregon State 35-17. Hawaii 31-20 over Fresno State. Hawaii's 4-1. And now we got Cal beating San Diego State 34-31. So that's what we have there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to advance the week. So let's see what all of the standings will be as it's week number 4. And yeah, whatever. So now we're going to go. It is a bye week, but now we're going to go right now to the top 25. Let's take a look. The media poll. Ohio State is 1. They beat Pitt. But LSU is number 2. They come up. They play Ole Miss this week. That ought to be a huge game. Penn State will play at Notre Dame. That's a huge game. Penn State at Notre Dame. Oh, my God, that's going to be big. Oregon is off. Alabama will be at Georgia. We got a few really big games this week. Now, South Carolina is 6th. They have Kentucky. Well, no, don't take away SMU. Texas and SMU there. Tennessee goes to 8th. They are 8th. They beat UAB. They go to Minnesota. Be careful of Minnesota. They're not that bad. Notre Dame They play at home against Penn State in a huge game for them. They're ninth. Clemson moves up to 10th. They beat Syracuse, Arizona State, and Colorado. That's going to be a heck of a game. We got four really big games. We got a lot of really big games this week. Ole Miss and LSU. We're going to see who really is there. Texas A&M at home against Auburn. That's going to be a wannabe game. You never know. Indiana's off. USC is off. Georgia and Alabama. That's going to be big. TCU and Cincinnati. I don't know how that's going to be, but TCU 17th. Kansas State is 18th. They're off. 19th in Michigan. They're off. Colorado is 20th, and they play Arizona State. We're going to see them. They're 3-0. Oklahoma goes to 21st. They play Oklahoma State. Auburn at Texas A&M. Boise State and Appalachian State, yeah, maybe a 4-0 over a weak team. BYU was off. They're 24th. They play UCF. And Florida goes all the way down to Miami. Miami is not ranked yet. When you take a look, that's the media poll. Duke, Miami, Memphis, Rutgers, Illinois, Baylor, Washington. Boy, it's just a shame. Miami has 164. It is a shame that Pitt did not get ranked. They're 4-1, but they beat Miami and they almost beat Ohio State. The coaches poll, LSU is 1, Ohio State is 2. Penn State got a couple votes, they're 3. Oregon, Alabama, South Carolina, they're 6th. They got to play at home against Kentucky. Clemson and Texas. You got to watch out that game. Arizona State, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Notre Dame. They're dropped down. They play Penn State. That's going to be a big game. Texas A&M, Georgia, Michigan now. Indiana, there's Colorado, USC. That's a big one. TCU, Kansas State, Auburn. Look at Rutgers. They're 4-0 and they play at Ohio State. You can't throw that away. Boise State and Florida. Florida goes down to 25th. Looking at this, you have Nebraska getting 5 votes, Duke, Missouri, Illinois, Miami's getting votes, and BYU. Miami beat Florida, but you just don't know about Florida. I mean, that's the thing. So, no playoff poll yet. It's just media and all that stuff. So, let's take a look right now at the. There it is. That's the coaches poll. BYU is in there at 24th or 3-1. But let's take a look at the conference standings, though. The conference standings are going to be really big. The Big Ten, the only one we're not allowed to do in the divisions. Look at that. 1, 3, 9, 14, and 19. Notre Dame is in the Big Ten. They're 1-1. Those teams have a solid shot. That's the thing. Once they start, other teams start, the power rankings on those teams are going to be very big. So Ohio State has Rutgers, and you look out for that game. That was a heck of a game against Pitt. Pitt is second, nobody else. West Virginia lost a conference game to Pitt. Remember, Pitt beat West Virginia in that one. Everybody else has divisions. So Boise State starting off big. They're 23rd. And that's a big one there. In the West, San Diego State. They're 2-2, but that's still early there. We'll go to the independents here. The Ohio Conference for the MAC. The mid-majors, nobody's played a conference game, but Ohio, Toledo, Bowling Green, good out of the outers. Look at Eastern Michigan. How good will they be? I don't know once they go into conference play. The Mountain West, the mid-major North, Memphis, and Cincinnati. Cincinnati might be good. There's going to be a lot of really unique games, really, this week. It's a big one. UCF, Cincinnati and UCF might be it. Here's the Pac-12, the North, which is actually the South, because I screwed up. Well, I don't know. Some of it's North and South. Arizona State, UCLA, USC, Oregon State, and Washington State. So far, conference-wise, Arizona and UCLA are there. Arizona State hasn't played a conference game. Neither has USC. They're both undefeated. The Pac-12 South, you have Utah, Stanford, Oregon, hasn't played a game. BYU is 0-1. BYU, I believe, lost to, I forget who, but Cal is 0-1. Cal lost to, I think, Utah. And BYU lost to Stanford. But Oregon, Oregon plays Penn State. Well, no, Penn State plays Notre Dame this week. The SEC, the East, South Carolina is 1-0, Tennessee's 1-0, Clemson is 1-0, Georgia is 0-1. That is a brutal conference because Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt are no slouches. In the SEC West, you have Alabama, who's fifth. They're 1-0. Miami beat Florida, who's 0-1. Auburn's there. Florida State's 0-1. And Arkansas is not in the conference yet, so they haven't done anything yet. The Sun Belt, the little teams, the little divisions, UConn, Appalachian State, nobody's played yet, but UConn's undefeated, and same with Appalachian State. They both have some big tests ahead of them. Arkansas State, they're pretty good. They beat Arkansas. So that's the biggest thing, only a 1 point difference. Points for and points against, but nothing, as you can see, no conference games. The ACC, the North. Now, Rutgers, again, they're getting votes. They're 4-0. Let's see how they do. They play Ohio State. Virginia Tech, Virginia. There you see nobody's played a conference game, but big game for Rutgers. Duke. Duke is 1-0 in the conference. Wake Forest is 2-0. North Carolina, Navy, NC State, and Army. I think really Duke and Wake Forest. The ACC's a little top heavy there. The American, this is a huge one. LSU plays Ole Miss. Like, that's a big game and a conference game. TCU's in it and Oklahoma's in it. Mississippi State, Oklahoma State. Well, Mississippi State can pull an upset. The American, the Western, Texas A&M, Baylor, Texas and Colorado. Texas A&M with a win. They beat SMU, and Texas with a win. I think they beat Baylor with a win. They beat SMU. So Baylor beat SMU. Texas A&M beat SMU. The Big 12, the Eastern. Illinois, they took a whomping. They got killed in a game, and I think they lost 2 in a row. Minnesota's not bad. You might see them end up a ranked 18th or 17th. You don't know about that. We just got to see how it goes. Wisconsin got killed Northwestern. Purdue hung in there. You never know. Big 12 West. Iowa State is 3-2, but they're 2-0 in a conference, unranked. Missouri is 1-0. Kansas State is 0-1 in the conference, but they're 18th ranked. They lost Iowa State. Iowa State lost 2 non-conference games. So far, Kansas, Nebraska got a vote. They're 3-1. And that is your players of the week. That is your schedule. Ja'Qurious Conley, you saw 13 tackles, a sack. That's unbelievable. Jake Gottfried, 10 receptions, 130 yards with 3 touchdowns. You take a look at all the different players. 10 receptions, 153 yards at Georgia. I don't know how the heck that guy didn't win it. What is that about? So both Ohio State players won it, and you just take a look here. There's Gottfried. You just take a look at this. These are. There's the SEC, Terrell, and then there it is. Some of those, and that's the Nationals. So here's the Heisman watch. Eli Holstein he was 23 of 35 for 358 yards against, Holstein. He's number 1 right now for the Heisman. Nate Frazier, the running back. He's number 3. It's number 2. He only had 22 yards. He dropped a bit. He had 10 receiving yards. He did not do well in their loss. Kevin Jennings for SMU, 38 of 50 for 406 against Texas A&M. He rose. DJ Lagway, right now I think I would vote for him because of his schedule. He's really playing well. He is a sophomore, and he's doing unbelievably good things right now. And how about Haynes King at Georgia Tech? Unbelievable passing yards and 9 carries, 63 rushes. So that's oh God! I just spilled everything. I just spilled my water. That sucks. So I gotta. I spilled the water. Let me. Oh God! And I had water and I spilled it. It was in my red cup, and then it just went everywhere. And I think I'm really calmed down. I'm not swearing like I used to, even though I was eating dinner and decided to do the oh God, that's there. That ain't good. So I'll just, you know what? I'll keep this to eat and I'll throw a big towel down and sit on this. Give me 1 second. I just kind of spilled everything. So all right, that's what we have. We have Haynes King, but I'm gonna say DJ Lagway right now. He's on number 25, Florida. I honestly think that he's going to be really good at what he does. Taking a look at the schedule, the four national games, Penn State at Notre Dame. Oh, we got unbelievable ones. Penn State at Notre Dame, Ole Miss at LSU. That'll be a huge one. Alabama at Georgia, Rutgers at Ohio State, and Rutgers getting some votes. Let's take a look at all of the standings here. Florida State at Virginia, that's a big game. All these are starting to go. Toledo at Akron, that's a conference game. Ohio at Bowling Green, conference game. Rutgers at Ohio State, non-conference. Rutgers is in the ACC. Ohio State in the Big Ten. As you can see, these are revamped conferences. That'll be big. Kennesaw at Liberty. That'll be a big game. We'll see how good Kennesaw is. Western Michigan has a double A. They're 0-3. Memphis is at Florida Atlantic. Will they go 5-0? Utah State at Vanderbilt. Let's see about Vandy getting a win. Texas A&M and Auburn. I think that's a heck of a game. That'll be a heck of a game. Louisiana at Coastal Carolina. That'll be big. Penn State at Notre Dame. Oh, that's the game of the week. SMU at Texas. That's another huge game. Tennessee at Minnesota. Upset alert there if Tennessee's not that good. Ole Miss at LSU. Probably the game of the week. Nevada at Colorado. If Ole Miss wins that game, they're going to be very, very high on everything. Nevada at Colorado State. Central Michigan at Eastern Michigan as they start conference play. Georgia Southern and James Madison there. Marshall at Georgia State. UCF and BYU. UCF and BYU. I would say that UCF. Uh, eh, I mean, we're going to see how good these two teams are. The winner will probably be ranked. Cincinnati at TCU. That's a huge game. Undefeated and undefeated. No, you don't do that. So Miami University and AA. UCLA and Northwestern, two maybe wannabes. Jacksonville State and Southern Miss. Maryland and Syracuse, both teams wanting to keep their seasons afloat. Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. You never know in a rivalry game. Old Dominion at Iowa. Tulane and Tulsa. App State at Boise State. How good is App State? They're 2-0. San Diego State at Northern Illinois. UMass will play Duke. Duke should beef up their record there. FIU at North Carolina. Don't put away FIU in that game. Kentucky at South Carolina. You don't know how good Kentucky is. Hawaii at Air Force. Air Force a lot better than last year, and they're really looking well. How good is Hawaii? UAB and Ball State. That's a solid one. Ball State 1-4. New Mexico against New Mexico State. A very big rivalry there. Alabama at Georgia. Oh, we're seeing that game. That's going to be a heck of a game. NC State, Miami. UTSA at Charlotte. Louisiana Tech at UTEP, Army at Virginia Tech, Baylor at Texas Tech, Purdue at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got to save their season. They were shut out. Arkansas State at Monroe. That'll be big. Arkansas State if they can get the win. Buffalo at Washington. Washington, another kind of game, but Arizona State at Colorado, a very interesting game. Two undefeateds, and the winner will be in playoff position. The loser will have to prove themselves. Wake Forest and Oregon State, and Temple at UNLV. I can't believe some of those games didn't make the national circuit. I mean, Rutgers at Ohio State's going to be big, but you still have Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, LSU, Penn State, Notre Dame. But I would rather have Arizona State and Colorado. Much, much rather have that game uh, at that. And as you take a look at this, this is, we went through everything here. It's going to be another quick week 5 as you see a lot of teams have buys in 5, 6, and 7. Some of them have 3 buys in a row, but that's going to be huge there. All right, have a great day. That's going to be it for today.